Hello, my name is Matt Erbacher with HVEA Engineers. Welcome to the public informational briefing for project number 876218, the Main Street Bridge Rehabilitation over the Bronx River Parkway and Bronx River. The project is located between Battle Avenue and Bronx Street in the city of White Plains. Please feel free to pause this video at any time to review the information being presented or to make note of any questions you may have. We will first introduce the project team, then discuss the purpose for this briefing, how to provide us with any comments or questions you may have, then take you through the details of the project, such as location, background, objectives, needs, challenges, process, and anticipated schedule. This project is being undertaken by the Westchester County Department of Public Works and Transportation, led by Commissioner Hugh J. Grecian Jr., and supported by Robert S. Donnelly and Kevin Roseman. The county has selected the consultant engineering firm of HVEA Engineers to complete the design of this project. Our firm is based in Beacon, New York, and is supported by staff in our Rockland County location in Chestnut Ridge. The purpose of this briefing is to make the public aware of this project and solicit comments and questions that you may have. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, we are presenting in an online format. A public presentation of the project is also a requirement of receiving federal funding for this project. We hope to provide everyone with an understanding of what will take place and get a sense of the concerns that you may have. In order to provide comments, please email Jared Anderson at the email address shown. Please do so by April 30th, 2021, so your comments may be reviewed in a timely manner. This briefing is not the only opportunity to voice concerns or ask questions. The public process is ongoing throughout the project, and our team can make ourselves available. A second, more detailed meeting will also be held later this year, further into the design process. As noted earlier, this bridge is located on Main Street between Battle Avenue and Bronx Street. Main Street is commonly known as New York State Route 119. Here is a view from the shoulder of the Bronx River Parkway southbound, looking south at the northern face of the Main Street Bridge. Note there are two spans, one over the Bronx River Parkway and one over the Bronx River. Here's a view along the southern sidewalk on the top side of the Main Street Bridge, looking east at the 4 lanes of traffic entering downtown White Plains. Here's a view of the underside of the span over the Bronx River Parkway. This span is a stone-faced concrete arch. Here you can see the concrete start to crack and spall in the zoomed-in view to your right. This condition is typical for the underside of this span. Here's another view of the underside of the span over the Bronx River Parkway. You can see numerous cracks on the underside of the structure, largely a result of water seeping through and freeze-thaw cycles. Here's a view of the underside of the span over the Bronx River. This span is a masonry arch. Note the water seepage on this span as well. Here's another view of the underside of the span over the Bronx River, showing the Bronx River pathway. Here's a view of the typical stone masonry decorative treatment on the existing bridge. ADA, also known as the Americans with Disabilities Act, requires pedestrian drop-off protection to be at least 42 inches in height. Portions of the existing wall are currently not ADA compliant, but will be raised to meet ADA standards as part of this project. The project came to be when the Westchester County Department of Public Works and Transportation determined that the existing structure is deteriorating and in poor condition. Work performed in 1991 to rehabilitate the bridge has now reached the end of its useful life. The county applied for funding to perform a bridge rehabilitation through the Bridge New York program and received $5 million. Bridge New York is an initiative that is overseen by New York State DOT to provide municipalities with much needed funding to repair or replace critical bridges and culverts. As a result of receiving this funding, the project must adhere to all New York State DOT specifications and design manuals. The intention of the project is to rehabilitate the bridge to mitigate any current and future damage from water infiltration. As noted earlier, the project proposes to raise the existing stone parapet walls to comply with ADA standards and replace existing or add guide rail where it is either deteriorated, out of date, or missing. This bridge is listed on the National Register of Historic Places. We have been working with the State Historic Preservation Office and County Historic Preservation Advisory Committee to preserve the historic integrity of the bridge. Finally, we recognize the importance of balancing the construction duration with impact to the traveling public, particularly with this project, and are working with the county to minimize the impact. Bridge New York projects are required to use New York State DOT standards and specifications, such as the New York State Bridge Manual and Highway Design Manual. Public right-of-way accessibility guidelines will be implemented and existing features will be brought up to standard. To date, HVEA has performed several preliminary design tasks, from topography and property boundary survey to gathering existing utility information. We have also performed environmental and cultural investigations to satisfy New York State DOT requirements. The U.S. Coast Guard has been notified about the project and will be reviewing the plan since the Bronx River is considered a navigable waterway. Traffic counts were taken and accident data was reviewed. All information has been gathered to form a draft design report, which was recently submitted to New York State DOT for review. Multiple agencies will have an opportunity to provide feedback on the project. HVEA will continue to consult with these agencies for approvals under the National Environmental Policy Act. The county has declared this project a Seeker Type 2, which is typical of rehabilitating existing bridges. Therefore, there will be no adverse environmental impact. New York State DOT acts as an interface for municipalities to ensure compliance with national and state regulations. The biggest challenge will be to complete the project in a timely fashion in order to minimize disruption to the daily commuters and area residents that use the Main Street Bridge every day. Work zone traffic control will be discussed in further detail on a later slide. The type project area is a challenge due to limited physical space to work, store equipment, and materials. We are also working over the Bronx River Parkway, river, and pathway below. Many utilities cross the bridge as noted here. Water seepage is the greatest contributor to the deterioration of the bridge over time. Therefore, it will be important to capture and remove as much water below the roadway surface as possible. This includes removing all material above the arches, applying waterproofing treatments, and replacing with well-draining fill and a new pavement surface. Lastly, it will be necessary to maintain the historic integrity of the original bridge while also repairing it and making upgrades to today's standards. The typical traffic volume for eastbound Main Street at the bridge can reach upwards of 20,000 vehicles per day. Traffic counts for this project happened to coincide with the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic in early March 2020, when only 13,800 vehicles per day were counted. For these reasons, traffic will be recounted in fall of 2021 to obtain a set of more current data reflective of existing conditions. We also obtained all available police accident reports for a recent 3-year period to see if there are any accident problems associated with the bridge. While there were 352 total accidents accounted for over this 3-year period, most occurred due to human error and congestion of the roadway and are not directly related to the bridge itself. It will be necessary to close lanes to perform this project. Our primary goal is to maintain 3 lanes of traffic as much as possible. One option being considered is to require that 3 lanes always be maintained during peak rush hours. A second option is to reduce traffic to 2 lanes for a duration of about 4 to 6 weeks. While this alternative will be challenging for traffic flow, it has a number of benefits including constructability, a shorter schedule, and cost savings. The timing of the 2-lane closure also needs to occur at such a time when anticipated traffic loads are lighter, such as during the spring after a peak holiday. This option will be reassessed when more reliable traffic data is obtained in the fall. In either case, outside of rush hour and during overnight hours when the traffic volumes are reduced, Main Street may be reduced to 2 lanes. Lane closures will be required on the Bronx River Parkway below in order to repair the underside of the arch. The Bronx River pathway will remain open throughout construction, with overhead protection for those passing through the work area. Here is an excerpt from the plans of the improvements being made to the northern parapet. As you can see on the left, the existing parapet walls are a hazard to pedestrians. Proposed walls will be increased to at least 42 inches in height to meet ADA standards. In addition, the walls will be upgraded structurally to current standards to resist vehicular impact. Here's an excerpt from the plans of the improvements being made to the southern parapet. A 24-inch water main exists between the original stone parapet and the concrete parapet along the sidewalk. Similar to the north side, proposed walls will be increased to at least 42 inches in height to meet ADA standards and structurally improved to resist vehicular impact. Current federal funds for this project total $5,065,000. The county will contribute $2,783,000 of its own funds. The Region 8 Office of New York State DOT, located in Poughkeepsie, oversees the project on the Federal Highway Administration's behalf. The steps outlining the project process are listed here, from preparing a design report to construction. As noted, our next major milestone will be to obtain approval to proceed with final design. Once we have had the opportunity to receive any comments or questions, we will compile that information into our final design report document and obtain approval to move forward with the project. As of this presentation, the draft design report and preliminary plans have been sent to New York State DOT for review. Once comments have been received and addressed, the report will be resubmitted and design approval will be obtained. We expect to submit draft construction documents for county review by the end of August. Shortly after, draft construction documents will be submitted to DOT. In the fall, we will take our new traffic counts and make any necessary adjustments to our work zone staging plans. The project is anticipated to be advertised for bids in December 2021, with award of the project to the lowest responsible bidder is anticipated in early 2022. Construction will begin in spring 2022 and be done in the latter half of 2023. On behalf of Westchester County Department of Public Works and Transportation and HVEA engineers, I'd like to thank you for watching the public informational briefing for the Main Street Bridge Rehabilitation Project. If you have any questions or comments, please email Jared Anderson at the email address shown by April 30th, 2021.